Welcome to Mostly Engineering and another part in our Enigma build series. So, welcome back to the reflector build, and the good news is that except for the sleeve, all the parts are done. So what we are going to do today is paint them and then do the assembly and the wiring process. So let's get started with the painting. So, and for the painting, as you see, first I start with airbrushing the parts in black. And when the airbrush color is dry, I take the same color and just dry brush it on at some places in order to give a little bit more texture to the part. So if you just airbrush it, the surface is way too even, and by dry brushing it on, you create some areas where the reflection of the light, the glare of the color is a little bit different, and this gives the whole thing a little bit more texture. Then, when this is dry again, we start painting in the numbering, and they are just a little bit of an off-white oil paint, and we don't need to be very careful to stay in the line, because if you go over the line, you just leave it there, let it dry a little bit, and when it's dry, we take a cotton swab with some oil paint thinner and just rub it off. And this gives us a really nice and quick finish, and also the oil paint doesn't rub up perfectly, so again, we get a little bit more texture to our part. So, and here we have our finished body, painted and with all the brass fittings. Looks really nice. We have 13 prepared pairs of wires and our connection. So what we are going to do is just simply, we take a wire, push the first one through A, make sure that it's seated correctly, and then A goes to Y, so that's a really short connection. We push it through, cut it to length, solder the other pin in place, and then we repeat this 13 times, check all the connections, and we are done with the wiring for our reflector. So let's get started. So, and we are done with the wiring, and it looks really nice, but I'm not gonna lie, this was a bit of a pain in the ass to do. So For the next project, I will print some half rounds that will slide on these clamps in order to hold on to the pins securely, and I think this will help a lot to streamline the whole process. What we have to do now here is put all the spring-loaded pins in, and then on the back side we have to coat all those connections in order to insulate them and so that we don't get short circuits, and probably secure everything with a little bit of glue, and then we are basically done. But before we can do this, we have to test all our connections first. So, and here we have our nearly finished reflector, and you see it looks really nice. I'm sorry that you didn't saw the last steps, but I was kind of in a flow and I didn't want to interrupt it for setting up the camera. But the steps are exactly the same as in the rotor. So if you're interested, you can watch this video. Now, the only thing left to do with the reflector is to put on the sleeve. And here the only challenge is that when the reflector sits in the machine like so, we have an engraving that says B for B reflector and oben, so basically this side up. And I don't know how to engrave or etch it in the cylinder yet, but this is for the next video to find out. And on this note, it's time to end the show. So I hope you enjoyed it. And if you have questions, comments, as always, let them down below, and I try to answer them as quickly and correctly as possible. And all that's left to say now is thanks for watching, and see you at the next time. Bye bye.